And thank you for taking the time, as always, to join our webinars. Today, we're going to be talking about one of our favorite regions, which is Tuscany, but we're going to focus on one specific location. And thank you, Tracy, as always, for your patience, for promoting what we do and the type of travel that we are trying to share with the world. So this is Jonathan. Some of you may have already met him, but do you want to?
So I'm Jonathan. I'm the creative director of Life Beyond the Room. I also join Karen on a lot of her research and development trips. And Val d'Orcia, it's one of my favorite places. So, I mean, I've been there like more than 10 times. It's like one of the best places.
He wants to move there.
Yeah, in the future. Yeah,
yes.
It's like the paradise because it's very an hidden gem. It's preserved, and I mean, the landscape is incredible. The food is amazing, and the people are like just perfect. I love this place.
Well, and what Jonathan didn't mention is that he's also, yes, on top of the marketing and all the beautiful Instagram photos that you see that are mainly from him. Sometimes if you see a discrepancy, that's why maybe one of us is doing it. But he also facilitates a lot of our small group trips, or even if we have a private group that wants a guide, usually depending on the area, Jonathan has accompanied groups in Tuscany, Sicily, he'll be accompanying, in Puglia as well.
Dolomites.
But yes, we'll focus on Val d'Orcia today. So again, you know, this is not going to be all of Tuscany because Tuscany is a very big region, differently from what, you know, it may appear when people are planning a trip. But again, really quick, I know that a lot of you already know us, guys, but just, you know, who we are. We're a sensorial DMC. We have multicultural, multilingual team, and we focus on mainly Turkey itineraries, right? So I'm not going to focus too much on this because I know you know it, but obviously if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And then if you have never worked with us, we'd be happy to share the first webinar we did that was on how to work with us and our process. So you can always refer back to that. And we're here for you. If you're looking again for turnkey itineraries, you charge a planning fee to your clients. We're a small team. There's 12 of us, and we take, you know, the time to create every single itinerary as customized to the client. So we're definitely not in the world of, you know, bidding itineraries out with, you know, some of the other DMCs. So if you charge a design fee to your clients, obviously that allows our team to take that inquiry and transform it into an amazing itinerary. We do have a minimum budget of 10,000, except for the small group trips, which is, of course, it's a lower entry cost. Of course, as I'm sure all of you know, 10,000 nowadays is not going very far, right? We're finding that the average 10 days to 2-week trips for 2 people during the high season, they're going more anywhere between, you know, 25, 35. So it all depends. But of course, if you're going off the beaten path, maybe off season, that 10,000 can still be achievable. And then if you value sustainable travel, and of course, you like to plan ahead. The 80% of the trips that we do, clients plan 6 to 8 months ahead. And then of course, right now we're all, as you all know, we're entering the world of kind of the last minute inquiries, which we can still do. But as you already know, you'll find out one of the things that make us the most proud is supporting very small partner accommodations, experiences. So their availability is very limited when you're working with places that have between 5 and 15 rooms, right? So that's why it's very important for us to plan ahead so we can get all those hidden gems for your clients. All right, let's talk about Val d'Orcia. And please, like I said, feel free to chime in. I think I try to allow people to talk, but I'm really bad with the Zoom technology. So feel free to ask any questions, as always, in the chat. Val d'Orcia is a very specific area of Tuscany. Again, there's actually quite a few different areas, from Maremma to the Chianti region, the coast, of course. But when you think of the picturesque rolling hills, we're not talking about mix of forests and woods. Like when you go to Chianti, which is absolutely stunning, it's a lot more wild, and it does have its charm. It has a lot more variety in terms of what you find in vegetation. In Val d'Orcia, it's pretty much the lush rolling hills. There's actually government regulations to keep your land a certain way, to be pretty and smooth. So that's what preserves that beauty that you can find all year round.
And you can build anything now.
Yeah.
So like what was before, like the last 20 years, it will never change. That's amazing.
Right, right. And the location too is very convenient. Of course, if your client's coming from Florence, it's a little bit, I mean, it's an hour and a half, but a lot of the times what we like to do in our itineraries, if we have somebody arriving in Rome or starting to Rome, which is an easier access airport than say Florence or Pisa, then it's just a short 2.5 hours drive to Rome, to Val d'Orcia, and you can actually make a stop in a lot of beautiful towns such as Caprarola, which is still in Lazio, or even Civita di Bagnoregio. So there's some really cool stops. Most flights from the US, they get in the morning, right? We can get the clients to Val d'Orcia early in the afternoon and make a beautiful lunch stop along the way. And yeah, the best way to maximize time and distance, of course, is to fly in in and out of Rome or Florence. Again, for Florence, it just depends how many layovers are they going to have before they get there, right? So any questions on the location? So it's not the further south,
There is the map.
Oh, perfect. Yes, we're going to talk about the map. But Maremma and Val d'Orcia are kind of like the two, you know, Maremma is the most south, and then you have Val d'Orcia, and then you get Chianti, and then you get closer to Florence. So what are the travel seasons? I mean, guys, this is a beautiful region to travel to all year round. Of course, if you ask me, are the big hotels, the big Relais Chateau, you know, the Virtuoso properties going to be open in the winter? Of course, they're not. But a lot of the properties that we do work with, because they're very small and unique, you will find them open. Their peak is really May through October. I mean, even April can be very busy depending on where you go. The good thing is there are a lot of different towns and locations to choose from, even within the Val d'Orcia, which we'll see in a minute. So really keep in mind too that September you have the wine harvest. So of course September is an amazing time for wine, but planning ahead it's very important. You know, favorite seasons, again, October to early November is beautiful. And April is great, like early April, or at least like right after the week after Easter. We always like to do the weeks after the holidays, right? Because there's not a lot of crowds. And that's right around Easter or right before. It's when all of the hotels reopen.
And the beautiful thing in Val d'Orcia is the landscape. It's very different. Like in every season, everything is so different. Like if you go in spring, it's all green. It's like beautiful. I mean, every season is beautiful. It's just very different. Like in winter, it could be the snow, and in the summer, everything it's a little bit more gray. And when you go like in August, no, excuse me, in autumn, it's like
fall.
It's a fall. It's beautiful because it's a lot of orange, yellow. It's like a dream. I love it.
Great. So again, some of the challenges, I feel like that's in general for Tuscany, right? Is choosing the right home base. There are a lot of the times where we get asked, hey, do you work with Borgo Pignano? Do you work with, again, some of those more known properties to an American audience? And the reality is, yes, we can work with them, but you know, Val d'Orcia, in terms of that Tuscan experience. Now we have partners on the coast, we have partners in the Maremma, we have partners in Chianti, because of course, if your client is just going to Florence and they just want to take a day trip, making it for a wine experience, making it to Val d'Orcia, it's going to be a little bit of a long day, right? So let's focus on the towns and the areas within the Val d'Orcia that make for great home base to discover not just the known towns, but also the little hidden gems. And how much time do you need? I mean, honestly, you know, I wouldn't do any less than 4 nights. If you spent a week, I feel like that would be ideal to really get to know the culture, for a really immersive and authentic stay. So let's look at, this time we did a little bit different. We're going to talk to you first about the location, and then we're going to tell you about some of our partners that we have in those areas. So just to give you an idea of the area of Val d'Orcia, these are some of the main towns, not all of them. There's about 15 little towns that are in Val d'Orcia. Those are some of the ones you may recognize, some you may not. Montepulciano, of course, is so close to Pienza, so we always treat it as Val d'Orcia, but it's technically right outside. And actually, you do notice a slight shift in landscape, depending on which side you're looking at. So, and Bagno Vignoni, you may know for the hot springs, right? There's a lot of hotels that have thermal baths with thermal waters. You can actually swim in the public big fountain with the thermal baths in Bagno Vignoni, but there are some others, some that are more set up where you pay a ticket, you have access to shower and everything, and some are more wild where you take your towel and you do it like the Italians do it. Are you sure we are, Tracy, just a quick check. Are we, because we're looking at the question and answers. Can you confirm there's no questions so far?
I don't know. Let me check, but I don't see anything on my screen, but it may not show on my screen.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think, yeah, and then we can go back and see. All right. So did you guys actually know that cypress trees are not from Tuscany? I guess probably nobody can answer it because everybody's muted, but this is just a little fun fact that we like to share. You know, Tuscany, you think about wine and you think about cypress trees, right? Those were actually imported mainly from Syria, from Persia, which is now Iran, so mainly from the Middle East. But it's just a little fun fact that now you can share. And so again, this is something that we always quickly mention. You're gonna see a brand score for our accommodations. We base it on a variety of factors, among which are sustainability, amenities, character, and story, right? It's the ownership. A lot of times we get asked, I wanna go to Tuscany and I wanna have a truly immersive experience, right? Well, the reality is that a lot of the bigger properties, you know, they're not run and operated directly by the ownership, which is fine. We work with some of them as well, but it's just so different when you go and stay at a higher end agriturismo, that it's the family, you know, the father is working on the garden, the mom is, the wife is working in the kitchen, and you get truly a sense of what life really is. And the reality is, back in the day, you know, a couple hundred years ago till now, at least the farming life hasn't changed that much. But of course, you know, that's an experience that's hard to seek sometimes. So let's talk about Pienza. This is your favorite place.
Yeah, so Pienza is one of the best place for me for the Val d'Orcia, because like the view is incredible. I mean, it's the first town you see when you arrive from Montepulciano, and when you arrive, you are just this amazing view because it's in the top of a hill, so you have like the view of all the Val d'Orcia, and there is near like down the town there is the famous scene of the gladiator. I don't know if you have watched the movie. It's the scene of this movie, and like it's, I don't know, I just can't spend one day just to see the view because it's so stunning, and like you can just drink wine and it's amazing food. I mean, Pienza, it's an incredible place.
Yeah, and what's cool about Pienza, I mean, of course, it has gotten known, and if you go on during the high season, there will be people, but there's not a lot of accommodations in town, which means just like a lot of places, you get all the day trippers, right? So we always recommend, okay, during the day, get out of the town, go do your biking experience, your wine. And then in the evening, when you come back, if you're lucky enough to stay in the town, it empties out and it's all the locals coming out. I'm sure you guys know of La Bandita. It's the only like 4-star hotel, really good 4-star hotel in town. And then there's a variety, a series of B&B. And I always ask the clients, is it more important to you to be walking distance, like to be in a town, or do you want to be 5 minutes away, either have a rental car, or of course drivers are readily available, and then have easy access within 5 to 10 minutes to all of those different towns. Of course, if you stay here, unless you can get lucky, obviously this would be if you rent an apartment or something like that on the edge of the town. Inside, you're not gonna have a view like La Bandita. It's inside, doesn't have a view. But of course, like Jonathan was saying, the whole walkway all around the town has an incredible view.
It's a very small town, so like like in 30 seconds you have.
Well, not 30 seconds. Yes, 30 seconds you have the view, but you can walk the whole town in like 20 minutes, right?
Yes.
But what Pienza is also really great is for people that like to hike. And I wouldn't even call it a hike because it's not that difficult, but walking from the town to the valley below to the place from the gladiator that Jonathan was talking about. I mean, you should have a day, an unplanned day, you know, or at least we try for our clients to have an unplanned day, and we actually recommend little routes to take them to like a hidden chapel that it's amongst the rolling hills and things like that, because that's when you truly get to experience the slow life.
And something important about Pienza, it's one of the famous town of Val d'Orcia, but it's not like so big touristic place. So there is always local people living there, and that's very important. And all the businesses, they are almost all from the local people. So you can really enjoy the truly essence of the Tuscany there.
Yes, thankfully it hasn't gone commercialized yet. So again, during the day, lots of day trippers, right? But you know, if people stay there, then at night it's a heaven. All right, so I don't know if many of you know about Casa Newton. This has gotten discovered a little bit on Instagram, but actually not, because when I met with the manager for the first time, you know, he said, you know what, we don't actually work with a lot of travel agents, a lot of travel agencies. And I thought that was interesting because they are what we will call to be the accommodation is the destination. All of the stars that you're going to see on these places are actually not representative of the true hotel star, because all these places are agriturismi. So even if you Google them, they don't have a star, but this is truly a 5-star accommodation. It's almost 100% self-sufficient. They have a vegetable garden. They have solar panel, water cisterns. I mean, they really care about making it as self-sufficient as possible. And again, it has everything you could possibly dream of. Amazing restaurant. It's got a winery on site that you can visit. I like it because you have the view of the winery, but it's not right there. So you have to walk maybe like 10, 15 minutes to get and walk among the vineyards. And what I love about this place, if you go to their website, you would actually never know the kind of view that they have. And they said they like to keep it that way. They said, you know, we are not for everyone, just like most of those smaller in terms of room, at least, you know, they only have 11 rooms, but they have the grounds of, you know, a huge hotel. And so again, for the right client, this is an amazing place. The design, it's kind of on the modern side with a lot of art, a lot of colors. On the outside is super traditional. Oh, we don't have this. I guess this was the second place, but the view, I guess this photo doesn't really show the view, but across from
The first picture of the presentation was the view of.
Yes, the very first photo of the presentation was the view from Casa Newton, just to give you, sorry, don't kill me, this one, right? So 360 degrees view of rolling hills, vineyards all around. So
it's pure magic.
Yes, we took the whole team here last December. And again, because from the website and even their social media, you can tell that it's beautiful, but you can't tell how beautiful. And I was kind of afraid that it was going to lack the view. And we were all like, it is one of these wow places.
Yeah, and something I want to say, because sometimes on social media, you have like amazing picture and people say, yeah, but when you are there, it's not the same. Here, when you are there, it's much better.
It's better. Yes, absolutely. In fact, the next one, and so just to quickly end it, this is a perfect place for the client that wants 5-star. They want all the amenities, right? And they want a little bit of an agriturismo experience, but not full in where, like I said, you got the husband and wife working in the garden and the kitchen, right? Because it is 11 rooms and it does have a lot more amenities. So it still feels like a resort, still feels like a hotel, right? But all of their practices being in agriturismo are really great and sustainable. So we love sending our 5-star clients here. The next place and the panoramic infinity pool, it's something to die for. The next place is the most underrated, worst website of the best place I've ever been. Seriously, if you go on the website of Lolmo, thankfully it sucks and it's almost good to keep it that way. You cannot check availability. You have to send a formal request. And yeah, when I discovered this place, I was just like, I don't know, there's something about it though. Some of the views and some of the things that they share on Instagram, because they do have a good following.
The definition of hidden gem.
Yeah, but hidden gem, absolutely. And so when I proposed it to some of our partner advisors, they were like, are you sure? You know, the website kind of sucks, rightfully so. I can put my hand, in Italian we say, put my hand on fire, that this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. It's a lot smaller than Casa Newton, and it has amazing, it does have, you know, a reception. It has a restaurant on request. So this is also a short 5-minute drive away from Pienza. It's actually in the little town of Montichiello, which in and of itself, it's a beautiful, beautiful jewel. And, you know, you can plan pretty much everything as long as you do so in advance. So they don't have a restaurant that's open all the time, but you can request meals. They do have a room that honestly, it's like a restaurant room, but you have to request the meals ahead of time. They have a pool table, wine cellar, they have bikes for use. But this place, I mean, that view of that photo that we just took last month at the bottom photo is really the view that you get. That's like quintessential, you know,
It's like a
Valdorcia.
Canva. I mean, it's like
It's a painting.
very nice, realistic.
Yeah,
it's
surreal. Maybe
surreal.
that's the
Yes,
word.
yes.
That's the word that you're looking for. They've recently renovated some of the rooms as well. So again, the style compared to Casa Newton is a lot more classic. It is very beautiful. I mean, I would consider, obviously, you know, they don't have all of the services and the amenities on site as Casa Newton does. So this is more of like an agriturismo experience, but upon request, their concierge is amazing. And of course, between them and our local management team, anything can be planned. But I really love the traditional Tuscan styles. All the bathrooms are beautiful. If you're interested in this accommodation, again, this is not the type of accommodation that wants to get discovered by everyone. But if you're interested, because the photos on their website really, you know, suck and don't do it justice, let us know, because we recently did a photo shoot there. So happy to share any additional information that you may want. There's no questions. Okay. All right. So the next sound. So those were our two favorite places. Again, we have more, but we don't have time and we don't want to bore you with all the details of all the partners that we work with. But those were our favorite accommodations really in Pienza, right? The Pienza area, L'Olmo and Casa Newton. So as we move towards Montalcino, which obviously everyone knows for its wine, we have a couple of favorite properties here as well. And I mean, Montalcino, again, during the day it gets very crowded, but you know, the Brunello Museum, if you have architecturally, they're all pretty similar, the towns, but if you have clients that are really into wine, this will be the place to send them and have them stay somewhere where they have a vineyard on site and they can talk to the winemakers, witness the wine production, of course, during the winemaking season in the fall. That's something that our clients have appreciated so much, right? It's one thing to just tour the vineyard and the facility, the cellar with, you know, nothing being made, and it's one thing to truly live it. So Villa Le Prata, this is another one of our hidden gems. It only has 8 rooms, so I feel like we're getting smaller and smaller. It's literally 3 minutes from town. So with bikes, you can reach town absolutely by bike. Otherwise, it's a couple minutes by car. Again, please don't pay attention to the stars. This is just, it's in terms of level of hospitality, you know, the rooms, the bathrooms, the shower, of course, you know, with us being kind of Italian American team, we are very sensitive to all of the needs of an American clientele. So all of the rooms are absolutely 5-star, from the linen to the bathroom size and the rooms. But it is a working vineyard, so they don't like to be called a hotel. They are a working winery. They produce only like less than 10,000 bottles a year. Their Brunello is outstanding. They've won, you know, several prizes for their wine. And what's cool, this is the type of place that you do get to meet the owner. You do get to witness, you know, really a working vineyard with all of the comfort and luxuries of a 5-star hotel. They don't like the word hotel. So if you ever go there, don't tell Minnie that I ever said the word hotel, because of course the expectation is a little bit different. This is like staying in a home.
Yeah, they want to share this, because this place before was a home.
Yes, it was her private home, absolutely.
And they decide to open to everyone to discover the wine and all the experience. So it's very an immersive experience of what this area can offer to you.
Right. And again, if we plan ahead of time, they offer cooking classes, they offer meals. We did our team summit here last December, and we all had like the most incredible meals, but it all has to be pre-planned. So, you know, for the client that appreciates this kind of wine immersive experience and they want to mingle with the winemaker, this is a perfect place. For the client that needs a 24/7 reception with kind of on-the-go things that they can plan and do, Casa Newton will be a better choice. I want to see really quick. I don't think Oh, there are a lot of
No,
messages on
people are
here.
just talking.
Okay, I don't think Q&A is
Here,
working.
yeah,
Send
it's-
the test.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I don't know why the Q&A. If you have any questions and you want to put them here, Jonathan, just try to send a request. I can see them when I switch my
Perfect.
screen, but
Great.
I think maybe if we use the webinar chat,
yes.
if that's what you're seeing, because I did send a couple of texts to Q&A, which means it's not working.
Yeah, I can see, hold on.
So
second.
maybe
Actually,
everyone,
all right, I see tests and I see, okay, I see a question. What are the price ranges for these smaller hotels? Great question. That was from Christy. Okay, I see the Q&A now. Thank you, Tracy. So obviously it all depends on season, but for example, at Casa Newton, you will be amazed. You can get some rooms for like $450 a night, $450 a night. The smaller room is like 30 square meters, which I don't know what it is in square feet. They're very, even if you get the deluxe room, they are very generous compared to getting like a smaller room at one of the more set up 5-star hotel. Villa Le Prata can actually be quite expensive during the high season, again, because of people that go there are usually very much into wine. So some of those rooms, and I mean, they're incredible. They can go anywhere from 600 to like mid 800 a night. L'Olmo, you can get beginning of the season, you can get, yes, around the 400. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the starting point for that 4 or 5-star accommodation. So again, from the low 400s all the way to Villa Le Prata on here is probably the most expensive to 800. And of course, if you get some of the suites at Casa Newton, which are like gigantic, then it's going to be upwards of 1,000 a night. So does that answer your question? Hopefully it does. Okay, so but yes, I can see the Q&A now, so feel free to add. Okay, great, thank you. Feel free to add any other questions that you have. Okay, so let's talk quickly about, how are we doing on time, about Montepulciano, which is technically not a part, as we saw on our map, not a part of the Val d'Orcia, but of course it's like, 10 minutes away, and especially if you stay around Pienza. I mean, all of these towns, if you stay in Val d'Orcia and you do a 4-night minimum stay, you can go and explore all of them. Now, of course, it's a matter of, do you want to do some of the immersive experiences that we're going to talk about in a second that may take, upwards of 6 hours if you're biking through the hills or hiking, or do you want to focus more on the history and visiting all of the towns? But the reason why I want to talk about Montepulciano is because, we often get asked about villas, if we work with villas, and we have one that we really, really love, that is literally just outside of Montepulciano. So the wine here, different wine, the Nobile di Montepulciano is the wine from this area.
Strong wine. It's one of my favorite wine, and it's a very
wins.
for me it's Nobile di Montepulciano. Both are amazing.
Yes, well, Brunello is kind of, as you can see from the prices too, kind of the top, that Tuscany, and in general, Italy, Brunello and Barolo, I feel like are the two most renowned higher end wines from the area. But anyways, Montepulciano in town, I struggle putting people in the town because it is on the map and it can get very, very busy. San Gimignano, which is nowhere in this area, forget about it. Like, we don't send people there anymore because it's lost a lot of its authenticity. Again, very different if you go off season, right? So talking about
a very biggest town, like it's 10 times Pienza, and it's different from Pienza because Pienza it's in the top of the hill. Here you go to the down to the top, so it's a very challenging town, but it's still an amazing town to visit.
Yeah, and so again, visiting at night, visiting after the day tripping crowds leave, trying to go right after the Italian holidays. A big thing that you notice when you enter Montepulciano, you're gonna have a bunch of street people. Hey, come taste this. You can tell it's become, very touristy, and everybody's trying to get your business, right? Versus if you go to a place like Pienza, that doesn't happen. If you go to a place like Montefollonico, that Castelmuzio, like all of the tiny little gems, Bagno Vignoni even, that doesn't happen. So just something to keep in mind, because I know it's one of the towns that, most Americans recognize by name. But we do have a great a great agriturismo experience. So if your clients are actually looking for a farmhouse stay, elevated, obviously, agriturismo experience, for Lonico, it's one of the most amazing places. They have animals on the farm. It's owned and run by a couple. And yes, you do have the guy that's working on the olive trees, in the vineyards, in the garden. They even have little bunnies that some are wild, some they, come up to guests, and they only have 6 rooms. Most of them, except for 1 or 2 rooms, I have to check, they're accessible by a outdoor staircase. So obviously accessibility anywhere you go in Tuscany with this old farmhouses where you cannot put an elevator, that's always a question, right? All of them, Casa Newton, L'Olmo, except for Villa Le Prata, even there's no rooms where it's not accessible without a staircase, but all of the other ones, there are some rooms where you don't, stairs are not required. So again, this place is for the most immersive experience possible. They do the dinners all together, outside under the olive trees with all the guests. The guests get to mingle. They don't have, all of the amenities that Casa Newton have, but the couple is incredible, and they do make you feel like a part of their family. As you can see from the photos, the rooms are very elevated. They've redone all of their showers to match, that standard, and they do dinner 3 times a week for their guests. They take children only like 1 or 2 per, like they try not to book out the whole place with a bunch of kids, right? But they will, upon request, allow 1 or 2 families with kids. And again, they have horses on the properties, bunnies, chickens, donkeys. So it's a really fun place for families to be with. This is priced a little bit lower than all of the other accommodations we just talked about. So yeah, really, really, truly authentic stay. And it's 5-10 minutes drive from Montepulciano. And it's a beautiful view surrounded by vineyards. Want to talk about this villa, since it's one of the
Villa
places
Beneficio, it's like, I don't know if you have when you think about Montepulciano, the stunning view of the Tuscany, yeah, this is the place, because you have an amazing pool with this amazing view, and you just want to spend all your day in this place. So this place, it's not only the pool, because inside this building, because it's an authentic one, it's renovated. They have 6 rooms. They have an amazing spa, like very high standard quality level. They have everything you need. And this place, it's in the middle of nothing, but 5 minutes from Montepulciano. So it's like perfect. It's a paradise. I love this place.
And what's cool about this villa, it's a service villa. We try not to work. I mean, people do say that they just want a villa, they want an apartment. And then, of course, our poor local managers are trying to add all of the services as they get along, right? And so we try to work with service villas. So we have several clients that have gone here and going here. You can add dinner with private chef. They are right next to one of the most stunning gardens in Tuscany that can be visited.
Villa Trecci.
Yeah, Parco Villa Trecci, that can be visited, it's a stone throw away from the villa, but can also be visited by outside guests. Again, they have their own spa. This villa actually has an elevator, right?
Yes.
It's got an elevator. So for multi-generational families, people that are traveling with grandparents that cannot do stairs, what's great about this villa is that they can accommodate for that accessibility. And again, you can add all of the services that you could possibly think of. And see if there's any questions. Great. And of course, again, we have more villas that we partner with, but this is one of our favorite because of its location, its proximity to everything else, and because of the services that can be added on. All right, let's move on to the experiences. So many experiences. We probably maybe have, 15, 20, but we're only going to focus on a few, so don't get scared. Our favorite experience, probably by far, is biking. And when people say, oh, I'm just going to rent bikes and go on my own, unless they're super intrepid that they're going to get onto the off-road, of course, if they're just doing the road cycling, right, they can do many deviations, but going with a guide that knows literally streets that don't even have a name or a street sign. And you drive past and you stop at family wineries that are not on the map. They only make wine for their neighbors and maybe their local, restaurant down the street. And, we always like to, we include the wine stops unless people don't drink. And then we focus more on the olive oil. But biking in Val d'Orcia, and of course, is an experience that we offer all over Tuscany.
Yeah.
And
sometimes I want to add, because it's not only a local expert, it's not only work for them, it's very a passion. They really love what they do. They really love to share about all this land. So they are very amazing. They are very nice. It's one of the kindest people I have met in Italy. So really, it's very, I mean, the e-bike experience, it's incredible. With them, it's like, I don't know, I really love them because they very try to share the passion they have about this land. So it's very beautiful.
Right. And just to put in perspective, there are about 200 or so, don't quote me on it, I have to check, but about 200 or so wineries, right, in the area, of which only a couple are fully biodynamic. And like I said, most of them, they're not even on the map, right? They are wineries, but a lot of them are still small and family owned. So what's cool about this e-bike experience that we offer, the first one they stop, again, backyard vineyard, right? They have a guide, obviously speaks English, because the people at the winery don't speak a word of English usually. And then they get to go to one of only a handful of fully biodynamic wineries in the areas, and that's really hard to do. Podere Le Ripi is getting discovered. They are known by wine experts everywhere. I mean, they are world renowned. But I feel like now, before a couple of years ago, nobody knew them, and now they are getting discovered because they are part of a larger winery from Mastroianni, which is the family of the Illy coffee. They split up, whatever, that's a long story. But Podere Le Ripi is their full biodynamic winery. And after doing, upwards of probably 30 or 40 winery tastings and experiences, I discovered things here about the wine making process in a way that it's biodynamic that I had no idea that even existed. And the wine cellar, it's super unique. They use gravity to store and cool the wine. So it's a really, really beautiful experience. You get the very small and authentic winery, and then the winery that's, makes excellent wine and that's being recognized for what they do. We can add, remove stops, this is all custom and flexible. It's all done by e-bikes. You don't have to be an expert rider, but you do need to know, because most of it's off-roading. There's not crazy hills, some hills, but with an e-bike, it's pretty easy. You do have to be comfortable on an e-bike.
Yeah, and the roads are pretty good. I mean, you are not on the normal road, but the trail are good.
Right. Yeah. And a tip I always give our clients that do this is to really map on their phone the route that they're going to do. Because again, they're off the beaten paths that you could not pull back the name on the map and find it out later. So I always like for them to track it so they can remember where they went. See if we have any other questions. Is Villa Beneficio single use? Your groups rent the entire villa? No, great question, Christy. Yes, absolutely. Single room, entire villa rental only. Yes. Okay, and then of course, almost everyone who comes to Tuscany wants to do a cooking class. Again, we're in the land of wine. We partner with another winery called Castello di Tricerchi, which is a little bit bigger in terms of how much wine they produce, but they were actually the first ones that allowed Brunello di Montalcino to be put on the map. They literally put Brunello di Montalcino on the map. So there's a really cool partnership between the winery that does not run the cooking class. So you get there, you get to do a tour of about an hour if you want. Again, everything is customized to the guest needs, but you get to tour the winery, learn about the history and the castle. The rooms in the castle, you're literally stepping back to the Medici time. I mean, it's crazy. So again, not just wine, history lovers as well. So you tour the castle, you tour the winery, and then they have this tiny little house on part of their property. And they partner with a local couple and for a cooking class. And the space of a cooking class is not huge. You probably wouldn't want more than 6 or 8 people, but it's this beautiful little house that has all glass windows on one side and you're overlooking the vineyard. That photo, it was during the off season. So the vines are not full, but and then you can eat, you know, either at a table inside or outside. And we always, when we do a cooking class, guys, we always really want to ask, what type of cooking class? Like, do they enjoy cooking? Because of course, if somebody comes here, right, we're gonna have them make pasta and pizza based on the request, maybe tiramisu, right? Maybe ravioli, but sometimes we do get clients that are really expert cooks. So it's important for us to know so that we can make a menu that is a little bit more elevated. I mean, the point of Italian cooking classes is you can make something simple with the freshest ingredients and you can replicate it at home, right? I don't think that everybody wants to learn super complicated dishes, but occasionally you get somebody with specific requests. So don't be afraid to ask. But this is a really incredible cooking class and Brunello di Montalcino and history combination. We won't spend too much time on this because I do want to leave some time for questions, but vintage car photo shoot or just vintage car. Yes, yes. The one thing I would say about this experience, and again, it's with or without the photo shoot, right? That's just optional. People, you know, I've been driving a stick shift since I was 18, and it was hard for me to drive this car. It actually turned off on me probably like 10 times. So people that are very used to stick shifts, this is a great fun experience. And, you know, you're getting on this off the beaten path road, so nobody's gonna get on them for going slow. But, you know, if they really want to enjoy the landscape, you can also have a driver. And then we can also organize a picnic. So again, depending on whether they want to do a photo shoot, you know, we can make different stops in different locations. We can add picnic with wine, but I highly recommend doing it with a driver, unless, like I said, they're very intrepid and they just want to drive that stick shift, that really hard stick around. So it's really cool. And their partner that we work with is located literally right outside of Pienza, 2 minutes from Pienza. And we can also get it delivered, by the way. So if somebody does want to drive it, or even if they want a driver, we can meet them directly at the accommodation and take them around in a little Cinquecento. Let's see if there's, see if there's any questions. Can you plan book these experiences without the accommodations? So great questions. As I mentioned earlier, for the most part, we do, if you work with us, we do turnkey itineraries, because for us, it's important, and for a local management team, to create continuity and to make sure that we ensure the quality of the entire experience, from their accommodation to the cooking class, the biking experience. If you do have a partner that you have vetted, because we guarantee you that we have vetted every single partner that your client is going to go to. If you're booking the accommodations and we're doing everything else, we won't do one-off experiences. But if we're doing everything else and you're booking the accommodations because maybe you have a really good partner, as long as you have vetted them and the client is clear about the fact that we didn't book their accommodation, and so as much as obviously we'd be happy to help if anything arises, we cannot be responsible. You know, but if the client has, you know, a bad experience with the accommodation, now we have to work 10 times harder, right, to make it up to them with whatever experience we're doing.
There were another question.
Does that answer your question? Oh, and then there's another question from Katie. Oh, I have clients who already booked a villa. Would I be able to work with you? Yeah, okay. So kind of a similar question. Yeah, so same answer, absolutely. As long as we can do everything but the accommodation, if they booked the villa or you vetted it, and of course it's in one of the areas that we specialize in, we can absolutely do it as long as we can meet our minimum budget. So great. So harvest experience, this is it's going to be a very fast explanation. It can only happen during the fall, specifically usually second or third week of September, depending on the weather, maybe fourth week, maybe it starts early, right? So it's not something that we can guarantee, but if we go during that season, chances are we're going to be able to make it happen, and we can work with several of the partners that we've discussed. And obviously we're not going to have time to cover all of the amazing wineries. A lot of them are part of the slow food movement that we work with. So this is a truly immersive experience. They don't have to be in the vineyard for 4 hours. It can be an hour, 2 hours. But what happens when people do workshops of any type, it really makes them appreciate the craft, the love, the passion that goes into making great wine,
Yeah,
right?
learn the process. So after they really start to really enjoy more the wine, because after they know how it's works. So what I see from my small group tour in the past, it's like people really enjoy this experience because after they really can taste in the different way what they're drinking.
Or they want to run away as fast as possible, be like, this is hard.
Yeah, also,
Drink the wine. So
yeah.
we had about half the people that wanted to stay literally in the vineyard all day. They wanted to hire
People
them.
prefer to drink the wine, not the harvest, but
Right.
they like to try it.
Right. And again, not everyone offers this experience for liability reasons. So you're not going to find this experience at any of the bigger wineries, or maybe if you know of one, you can educate me, because this is something that there has to be trust, you know, with us and the partner, but also with the clients, because of course, you know, yeah, you can cut a piece of grape and accidentally cut your hand, right? So it's never happened, but just know that it's not an experience that everybody offers because of that risk of liability reasons.
Yeah,
We've never had
another thing, it's not only about how to cut the grape, because there is like a way to cut it. So
Right.
they will learn all the tradition and the way to do this.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Great. All right, and one of our other favorite experience that again allows you to slow down, especially it's coming to me from me that I speak and move at the speed of light, but those experiences do truly allow you to slow down and take in the place that you're at, from the landscape to the food and the wine. We partner with this gal. Her name is Elizabeth. She's originally from England, but she's been in Tuscany for upwards of 10 years, I think, and she can go anywhere within the Val d'Orcia. She can travel to the accommodation depending on where they're staying, or just take clients in a beautiful viewpoint, and you know, clients get to make, instead of buying it, which is also great, buying it from the artist, but they can also make something to bring home themselves. So we love her, and she's making some cards for us that will be unbranded. So there'll be great things that we can also put for your clients in their accommodations upon arrival, of all the different landscapes that the clients are going to go to. So, okay, we're almost at the end. So there's a little time for Q&A. If any of this and any of those experiences sound good, and especially if you have, you know, clients that are maybe a little bit planning last minute, or you have people that really enjoy a small group setting of like-minded people, we do have a small group trip this fall that is trying to catch the wine harvest, because obviously that's one of the experiences. Those small group trips are anywhere from 8 to 10 people, and they encourage slower travel. In this case, 2 regions. We actually go to both Tuscany and Umbria, with some amazing stops like Civita di Bagnoregio and Orvieto along the way. So if you have, again, solo travelers, we usually have a couple of couples that go, and then some solo travelers. It's right in the middle of September, so it should be right around harvest time. And we will be staying at Villa Riprata in Tuscany and Borghi dell'Eremo in Umbria, which are 2 accommodations that couldn't be more different. Again, even though the regions are right next to each other, the wine, it's also quite different, the little cultural
everything
nuances.
is very different. The landscape, the wine, I mean, they are near, but it's very different. There is a big contrast, and you can really enjoy the essence of Umbria and Tuscany.
Absolutely. Okay, can you speak about some of the other notable towns you listed? How much time would you dedicate to each? Notable highlights within each town? Are the towns more authentic or touristy? Absolutely. Thank you, Victoria, for asking that question. So
One should a map, maybe?
Yes, let's go back to a map. And actually, this happens a lot, right? Because people are like, oh, I want to do a full day tour of Tuscany with a driver, and they want to go, you know, to like 5 different towns. The reality is that that's really going to diminish the experience, because in one day, in our opinion, you should not go to more than 2, maybe 3 towns max. And what we always like to do is combine, let's say they go to Montalcino. You need a little bit more time there. You need, especially if they're into wine and you want to explore the wine museum, you maybe need like 2 to 3 hours, right? And then people want to shop, of course, which is huge. And then, you know, like if you do Montalcino and Pienza in one day, that's it, right? And again, Pienza, if depending if you like to do the long walk among the hills, that's something that I wouldn't do more than Pienza Montalcino or Pienza Montepulciano. Some of the towns that are really beautiful and tiny that maybe could be great for a lunch stop. Again, Bagno Vignoni and everything about the hot springs. So of course it can be a quick stop, or you can get your clients to go to the thermal hot springs. Then there's a town called Castelmuzio, which is very tiny.
Very small town.
It's very tiny.
Montichiello too.
Montichiello, which is right where l'Olmo is. Like Montichiello has like 3 restaurants, I think. And those towns, again, you can walk in 5 minutes, but what we like to do is actually get connected with the locals, you know, go inside the one cheese shop, go inside the one restaurant. So, you know, combine maybe
I can have to answer to this question. Like the most touristic town, it's Pienza, but it's not that so touristic. The other place, it's almost empty. So
well, Pienza Montalcino,
yes,
right? Montepulciano,
yes.
of course, is
But
technically
it's not only about the town, because all the area, it's so beautiful. So there is a lot of stop to do, like between Pienza and San Chirico d'Orcia. The landscape, it's incredible. So you will maybe to stop to take some picture, to enjoy the landscape. I mean, there is a lot of things to do here.
Right. And here's the thing. So I know that, you know, we have to respect what the client wants to do. And if the client heard about Montepulciano or Montalcino and they want to go, we take them, right? But then, especially if they have the full driver, and our driver in Tuscany is truly not just a driver. His name is Michele. He is truly a driver guide. He's going to know that day, based on the day of the week, you know, is it a weekend? Is it a holiday? Is there a manifestation? Is there a bike ride? Is there a sagra, like a food festival, which we love, and we try to give this information to the client ahead of time. But what we like to give this amazing partner the ability to do is to be flexible, because he's so good at meeting the clients and within 5-10 minutes understanding exactly what they want. So of course we need to plan the winery stops, but he's the type of guy that is going to take them to their friends' little, you know, garage winery, and you're gonna go to Pienza, and then 5 minutes away he's gonna show you this church that you have to hike down to 20 minutes, right? So you really want to allow for extra time. It's not just enough to see in the itinerary, okay, we have 1 hour in Montepulciano, then let's go to Pienza 50 minutes, then you get 1 hour in Pienza. That's not the type of experience we want to give clients. And that is why we vet all of our partners, and we work with partners that can take a typical tour and transform it into like a tailor-made immersive experience to that client's specific needs and interests. Sorry, that was a very long answer. Did this speak to, so yeah, again, some of the tiny ones that I really recommend to visit is Castelmuzio, which is on the edge, but has on the edge of the Val d'Orcia and has a view over the entire valley. Definitely Montichiello, which is really beautiful, Bagno Vignoni and San Quirico d'Orcia.
Yes.
Some of the...
There is so great restaurant there.
Um,
if you love pasta, it's wow.
Yes, peachy. And
Peachy.
if your clients want to take home something, we can stop and buy like the homemade peachy pasta, you know, the long ones that
With
are...
ragu.
No, yes,
ragu,
stop, you're making me hungry.
yeah,
Okay.
it's-
Victoria, did that answer your question? Go back. So I think we were, and okay, perfect, great. So do you guys have any other questions? We're pretty much at the end. We pay a commission to travel advisors also if people join one of our small group trips. And yeah, I think this we already covered some of the highlights. Also, there's going to be a wine festival during the small group trip. So obviously that's something really cool and culturally immersive experience that the clients can have. Cooking class, guided hike, you know, about half of the meals are included, some are not, because after you eat peachy, you know, and pasta multiple days, we like to give people a break and balance. But yeah, that is it. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. Our next webinar, we've been getting a lot of questions about Sardinia, and our next webinar is going to be about Sardinia, but I'm going to disappoint you. It's not going to be about the Costa Smeralda in the north. where all of the, I mean, Sardinia, it's already off the beaten path, but that coast, it's where all of the people go to. This is going to focus on the most beautiful beaches, which are actually in the south. So from Cagliari south, which is so off the beaten path, so undiscovered. And this accommodation that you see pictured, this lighthouse, is probably
One of
my
the
top 3 favorite places on the planet. But so don't miss that on May 28th.